So our second speaker today will be Victor Rajasooriar. He is Managing Director and CEO of Panoramic Resources Limited.
Thanks for the kind words. Good morning, everyone, and thanks, Paydirt, for the invite to come here this year. And also, I've seen many familiar faces. Our shareholders are here too, so thanks for making the time to be here today. We've heard from some esteemed speakers today, and Joe mentioned about this tie bet. But one of the things I had with Joe in return is that every time I mention some sort of a cricket reference, and it goes by them seconds and minutes. So every 30 seconds, he's supposed to donate $100 for a charity that I choose. So we'll see how we go. I'll just skip through the disclaimers and I'll get through to the main part. Before I go into the main part, I thought I'll talk about, we are seeing lots of graphs about the electric vehicles, the battery mineral space, and I thought I'll share some of my own personal experience. So about 2.5 years ago, when I got into the battery mineral space in the nickel market, I was at this presentation with the Paydirt people, and Peter Bradford spoke about his IGO side. But he started off with his Tesla that he had, how clean it was. That's not his Tesla, by the way. But it was very clean, it was environmentally friendly, low maintenance, and he was really proud of what he had. And I wasn't going to be outdone, so I spoke about my electric vehicle. This is 2 years ago. It's a bike, but it's an electric bike. It has a battery which has nickel, cobalt, and lithium in it. Right, so that was my first entry into the battery mineral space. I am proud to say that after 2 years, I have expanded my battery mineral space, so I've got a new toy now, and it's doing a great job, right? It's an electric lawnmower, it's very quiet, it has a battery, and it has nickel, copper, nickel, cobalt, and lithium in it. And you get to see how the world is expanding, how we are all getting used to these new things that are coming in and that are going the battery way. Then I step back and I look at the young generation that's floating around. And I have to say, they are taking this much more quickly than I am. And, they're certainly embracing it. I listened to the presentation at breakfast earlier today, and you could see how the US is only currently at 10%, where they have embraced these battery minerals and they're looking at expanding. And so I drive to work one day and I see our young office administrator, Jen, she's mid-20s, parking a Tesla in our car park. So you see that the young group is certainly embracing this journey that we are actually going through. Anyway, I'll get to the serious side now. So one of the things is it's so great to be a nickel, copper, and cobalt producer right now. We only started producing at the end of this year, at the end of last year in December, and we just picked the right time and at the right place. And the mine is actually in Western Australia. It's in the Eastern Kimberley, and it's called the SAVANNAH mine. On the corporate structure, we have about 2 billion shares on issue. Yesterday, we hit a new high. It's at 36.5 cents, giving us a market cap of about $750 million. We do have a debt that we've drawn down, which is about US $30 million. And so it gives us an enterprise value of about $780 million. Our largest shareholders are Western Areas. You heard from Joe earlier today, or just then. He forgot a line. He was supposed to say how proud they were of their shareholding in Panoramic. Our second largest shareholder is Zeta Resources, and they've been, both the shareholders have been very supportive shareholders. I have a really good board. Both Nick Sonata and myself are mining engineers with operational experience. And the rest of the board are experienced directors with a spread of experience in various fields. I do have Peter Sullivan and Nick Sonata in the crowd, along with our CFO and our exploration manager as well. So exactly a year ago, on the 6th of April 2021, we released our feasibility study. So at that time, the mine was shut. And in April, exactly a year ago, we announced the restart of the operation. We changed our strategy. The strategy was that we were going with a mining contractor and a processing contractor. At that time, the nickel price was $16,000 a ton, and we said the commodity price was very strong at that time. This is $16,000, and that we should start restarting the operation. We wanted to make sure that we had a strong balance sheet. So we did an offtake agreement with Trafigura for a five-year offtake agreement in return for a prepayment loan facility, which is the $30 million that we've drawn down. The mine itself is going to be a 12-year operation. We are going to be producing about 9,000 tons of nickel, just under 5,000 tons of copper, and about 700 tons of cobalt. And based on these April prices, so this is exactly a year ago, we forecasted a cash flow of $610 million and an NPV of $353 million. When I combine the nickel, copper, and cobalt and look at the nickel equivalent production, it's going to be at about 15,000 tons per annum, and the grade is about 1.8% nickel equivalent. So this little mine can produce some significant amount of battery metals from that operation. Nickel prices have changed. We just sent our third shipment on the 1st of April, and we put an announcement about it. And we sold that product for double the price. So we sold, our last shipment was at $33,800 a ton of nickel. So when you take that cash flow or the metal prices and put it into the feasibility study, our revenue doubles compared to the feasibility study. We are talking $4.7 billion. And the pre-tax mine cash flow basically increases by 371%, and the NPV increases by 405%. We are unhedged, and this is why the leverage to the nickel price and the commodity prices has a significant impact on our bottom line. So we are certainly looking forward to some healthy prices moving forward. Just switching back to where our operations are. To get to site, we had to fly from Perth to Kununurra, or we actually fly from Darwin to Kununurra. The Darwin to Kununurra flight is only about 50 minutes, and when the borders were shut down in October, that did impact our labor intake from over east. But since it's been open now since early March, we have started seeing the workforce return to site. We then land in Kununurra, we drive to a site on the Great Northern Highway, and it's the same road that's used to truck our concentrate to the Wyndham port, and then we ship it to China. The picture in the middle is our tenement package. The green bits are the ultramafic rocks that are highly prospective for mineralization. You'll see that the SAVANNAH complex is in the middle of that, and that's where we have been spending time drilling and mining over the last few years, and we plan to expand that drilling in the broader tenement package as well. And we continue to be surrounded by IGO in all directions. So the picture to the right is the layout of the mine. The old mine, SAVANNAH itself, you could see there's some remnant bits left, and SAVANNAH North is the new mine with a 12-year mine life that we've just got into and starting to produce. I've got a 3-minute video clip, so hopefully you get an insight of what the mine and the resource looks like. And Joe, your clock's ticking.
I say I don't like crickets. I love this. I don't like crickets. I love this. Oh, yeah.
Panoramic Resources is an Australian nickel producer who operates the Savannah nickel mine in the East Kimberley region of Western Australia. Open pit mining commenced in 2004 before operations transitioned underground in 2005. The Savannah North deposit was discovered in 2014 and gives the project a current mine life of more than a decade. The red areas represent the resources which have been defined at Savannah and Savannah North. To Together, the total resource equates 209,800 tonnes contained nickel, 94,200 tonnes contained copper, and 13,700 tonnes contained cobalt, which underpins a base case 12-year mine life with potential for extension. Initial drilling intercepts of mineralisation at Savannah North originated from the Savannah development. With extension drilling now taking place from Savannah North, Panoramic hopes to replicate the discovery of further mineralisation. Since mining of the Savannah North deposit commenced, 100 metres of vertical development have been completed. The majority of the resource and life of mine development occurs in Savannah North, with some remnant resources at the Savannah deposit above and below the 900 fault to be mined over time. Extensive drilling has been completed to support the resource and mine plan. Further drilling is planned at Savannah, where the resource is open at depth and to the west below the 900 fault. Further planned drilling will test areas previously thought to be unmineralised, such as the upper splay at Savannah North, where recent drilling hit both upper and lower lenses and intercepted mineralisation of an additional unexpected upper lens. Additional drill targets include an EM plate anomaly, which you can see here in green. Panoramic is confident significant upside remains at both deposits, with mineralisation at Savannah open to the west and at Savannah North remaining open to the east, northwest and the west at depth. The significant investment in surface and underground infrastructure at the Savannah operation leaves Panoramic well positioned to produce nickel, copper and cobalt concentrates to support global decarbonisation through the electrification of the automotive industry.
Hopefully that short video gave you a bit of an overview of what the mine is all about. I was supposed to sing, I don't like nickel, but I love it, but I'll give that a miss. So just looking at our mining operations, as I said, we've been mining now just over 9 months. Things were going really well. Then the borders were shut down and we had our usual labor issues, just like everyone else had. And with the borders now opened, we are seeing that at one stage we were at 70%, manned up on site. That's now ramped up to 90%. So that's been quite positive for us. Recruitment is going really well, and there are new entrants coming through the system. In the market itself, fitters are a challenge, and that's spread all over us at the moment. But our contractors have come up with a plan on how they could mitigate that shortfall as well. So I would say in the next, this quarter that we are in, we should see some significant improvements as well. At the end of March quarter, which just finished a few days ago, we had about 30,000 tons of ore on the ROM and about 25,000 broken stock underground that's waiting to come up. So the volume of material is there to keep the processing plant running. When I look at the performance, so this is the December performance, December quarter performance compared to the March quarter that's just finished, we are looking at some significant improvements. So we've seen 40% more ore mined and 50% more contained metal coming out of the mine, which is good to see. All the infrastructure is in place. The paste plant is running to keep the stopes filled. The chiller plants are in place. And about 3-4 weeks ago, we even started our surface teleremoting hub on the surface. Basically, during shift changes, we are able to still mine underground. On the operations side, on the processing side, we are running at about 70% capacity at the moment as we ramp up to the 100% over the next 9 months. The workforce for the processing plant is very close to 100%. The concentrate that we are making is between 7 and 7.5% nickel. As I mentioned, on the 1st of April, we put an announcement out saying that our third shipment left port, had just over 10,000 tons, and that brought us a revenue of $29.2 million, or very close to $30 million. In the feasibility study, the same shipment was supposed to deliver about 15 million Aussie. So you do see that significant amount hitting our bank accounts. And if you have a look at the quarter-on-quarter performance against the December quarter versus the March quarter that's just finished, and this is all unreconciled numbers, you see improvements in all fronts. We've treated more mill tons. Our recoveries of the minerals have certainly increased compared to the last quarter, and we've produced more concentrate and we've shipped more concentrate as well. So everything is pointing in the right direction for us at the moment. I'll switch to our exploration side now. In FY22, which is the current financial year we are in, we only put 4 million towards exploration. Predominantly, most of that was going to be for drilling from the underground side of Savannah North, which I'll speak to in the next slide. But we're also targeting some of the surface regional targets. So on the right-hand picture, there are 3 yellow circles. We are going to start drilling the Stony Creek and the Northern Ultramafic Granulite prospects at the end of April, at the end of this month, just waiting for the rain season to be over with. We'll drill a couple of targets, and we will then do some downhole EMs. The reason we like that ground is because when we did a research program with CSIRO, they identified these 2 prospects as very similar age and mineralization to the Savannah mine, and hence they are one of our higher priorities. The video that you watched, you saw the Savannah ore body as well. And just as a bit of a history, in 2016, when we shut the mine was very closer to the 900 fault. The geologists have just done a little bit of drilling to identify that there was mineralization there, and it just got stopped at that time. So we are planning to now go back in and drill that. If we end up with, if we get our plan right, and if we find more mineralization, it provides us another source of ore to send through to the processing plant as well. So which will complement the supply of ore from Savannah North. On the underground, we've seen some exciting results come through. So the main picture, the red bits are the reserves of Savannah North that we are planning to mine. And the yellow bits are the resources that we want to convert into the reserves over the next few years. The table there, or the table there on the left-hand side, shows you the reserves and the resource numbers. And you could see that the conversion between resource and reserves for Savannah North are quite low. It's only about 55%, whereas in a normal WA mine, you will expect about 70 to 80% conversion. The reason is that we haven't had any drilling platform within Savannah North to drill those targets. We've only just put one of the drill platforms. We've been drilling now for the last 2-3 months, and we've been releasing the results that we are seeing. And yesterday we released 3 assays that we've got from 3 holes. One was about 150, 200 meters below the floor of where we are mining, so below the mining horizon, and another one to the eastern side. The holes that we hit on below the horizons were some cracking holes. We got 40 meters at 2% nickel, 16 meters at 2% nickel. And these are all much better widths and grades than what we were expecting in our original resource model. So all this data will go into the resource model as we develop before we release the new update in September this year. The picture on the right-hand side is quite interesting. Originally, we had Savannah North had 2 lenses, an upper lens and a lower lens. That's what we were planning to mine. But as the geologists were drilling that, they actually hit some unexpected mineralization, which is now turned into a bit of a splay and potentially become another lens. So we hit 2 holes there. We got 5.7 meters at 1.47 nickel, and another one is half a meter at about 1.4% nickel. So the trend is that there's something there. We just have to develop it and drill it and try and get it into our mine plan. I'll switch it to the sustainability side of the business. Even though we are a very small operation. We are a nickel sulfide mine, so that in general consumes less power anyway, because the processing plant is very, very small. We are working on reducing our carbon footprint on our site. We were looking at 3 different options. One was to bring the hydro. There's a hydro plant that's currently idle from the Argyle mine, so we're trying to get power from there. At the same time, we were looking at the solar and the wind option. And I think the solar option combined with the battery backup is what's going to come through in the, which is going to be, I think that's the one that's going to come through. We have some engineering groups working on a design and pricing that I think we're expecting that later this year, which will add further value to the mine. Because when we go from diesel power to like renewable power, we get more options underground as well. We get to change the electric, the diesel fleet to an electric fleet. You need less cooling underground, and eventually our mining cost actually reduce as well. So there's some good things to come out of this study. We are very keenly active in the community. We're in the Eastern Kimberley. There's lots of local small communities. We try and get local employment for these groups, and we try and get them involved with our operation. We went on a journey of sponsoring the Bridge the Gap program with TLG, which is Teach, Learn, Grow, which is educating the younger kids and getting them up the curve on, valuing education in these communities. We got some really good feedback from the stakeholders involved, the kids who went through it. So we continue to do that now. And I think that'll see some good results coming out of that. And we have been, we've been operating in this region since 2004. And I have to say, we are very proud of having paid $14+ million to our traditional owners in royalties as well. I'm just on time, so listen, I'll circle back to our outlook and summary and the value proposition. Savannah Mine, it's in the backyard of WA. All the infrastructure is in place. Every time our geologists put drill holes, we are hitting stuff, so we know the mineralization is there. We've restarted an operation that is ramping up nicely, steady, and safely. We brought our first shipment on December, just as we planned, and we've just taken our 3rd ship out. Balance sheet is strong, good offtake partners. Our life of mine cost, based on the current commodity prices, is $5.56 a pound. We have a 12-year mine plan that can generate $2.9 billion worth of cash flow with an NPV of $1.8 billion. You do the maths and you go, this company is undervalued and our share price is very cheap. And then you look at the exploration potential and it's phenomenal. So I do think we got the right time to come into production. We are in the right place. It's a safe place. It's in WA, and we have the right commodity. Now, stumps.